What's happening? Ronin here over at Gia's place in Austin. We're having a fucking great time. And we're throwing around some ideas. And it was so funny because she was cooking and I'm sitting there looking at my Facebook or Instagram. And there was this, I'm not going to say the name, but there was some entrepreneurial channel, supposedly like, what do they call those fucking things? Motivational kind of entrepreneurial thing, right? So there's a quote by somebody, I'm not going to say who, but it basically said ideas are, like everywhere, but implementation is hard, right? Now, this is what venture capital people always say because they're the guys giving the money, so they look down. It's kind of like when you're the dad, you can kind of say any shit and the kids have to do it, right? You can just say, well, hard work is where it's at when there's like the yard to be cleaned or like, you can, whatever it is that you need, just like miraculously becomes the quote of the day, right? Details, or like whatever it is, being on time or telling the truth or whatever it is you're trying to get the kids to do, like suddenly becomes wisdom of the day, right? So with these VCs, they always say this. I've heard this a fucking million times, right? Is ideas are easy and the implementation is the thing, right? So you got these guys that have money, and then you have these people with ideas who in some ways are very pathetic because they're very needy, right? They could be like the next Elon Musk, but at that moment they're very weak, right? So what happens to the VCs? I know most of the VCs. I'm not saying all the VCs because there's going to be the reason why we have a great culture in Silicon Valley of innovation is because they're not all like this. But a lot of the losers basically get a bunch of money and they throw it out to a bunch of entrepreneurs. They basically look down on them. They give it to the ones that kiss their ass the most, kind of, and then. Basically, it all fails and they lose all everybody's money, right? That's like most VCs, So it's like the return on equity is pathetic. But there's always so much money that wants to go in there because everybody wants to, get the next Facebook or whatever, right? So anyway, it's kind of this machine that goes on and on. And in the midst of this is total genius, right? There's like absolute stunning, world-shaking ideas that come through this too. But anyway, I get tired of these guys because I've had a lot of people steal my ideas, and I always come up with new ideas, and I've had people steal them, and they always kind of have the same fucking idea. Is they say like, well, the idea is nothing. So what that means to me is that like you don't have any new ideas, you don't have any unique ideas, but you're going to steal them. It's like Edison, right? Edison basically stole everything. Not as you could put it any way you want. In my opinion, he stole a lot of things from people who worked in his lab, and then just like NEC with the blue laser. And what's his name who teaches up in Santa Barbara, that guy, he invented the blue laser, and then his company, took it. He got nothing. He got like $20 and some lube, and then he left Japan forever and said Japan's fucked, right? And Japanese companies are kind of like this, yeah. And also, they basically, you create it for them, and then thanks, good boy, pat on the head, that's it, right? So, but I want to warn you about this because a lot of people on this channel have new ideas, right? So you have to be aware that there are these people out there that you're going to be pitching the ideas to. And not only do they look down on you, they're insanely jealous of you. But that's the other thing. These VCs that like look down on the entrepreneurs, they're insanely jealous. Because this is what they want to be. If you ask these motherfuckers what they want to do, they will all say, I want to start a company. But the truth is they're like Luddites. They're like the best movie ever is Amadeus, right? There's Amadeus, he's fun, he's happy, the chicks like him, he dresses all whatever he dresses like, he dresses like Chime Time, right? He does his thing, right? He doesn't give a fuck, right? He's having fun, he's on his piano, and then the girls are like laughing, everyone's having a good time. And he just sits there and makes up a song before breakfast that becomes a classic for all time. And there's this other guy in the corner who's like studied music. Salieri, he's all fucking serious about this shit. And he writes total boring shit. And he cannot understand how Amadeus can write this stuff without even taking it seriously. Like he's like, well, what did you think about? It's the 3-incher. It's the 3-incher in business, basically, or art or whatever. The Salieri is the classic 3-incher, And so no talent, jealous motherfucker, right? So beware, because this is how very few people have ideas. Very fucking few. So people steal like crazy, and if you're not careful, I think the danger for me it's not that people are going to steal my ideas, because I'm going to come up with 100 more. So really, fuck you, take my ideas. That's really how I feel. In fact, it motivates me to have to come up with something new. So I kind of like it in a way, because it keeps me running, because I'm like, okay, that idea is gone now. I'm going to go to this next one. But the thing is what was I going to say? Fuck. So
I was just gonna jump in and say, so I do a lot of my own companies, and we've pitched to venture capitalists. And one time we left an office, and there was we accidentally took one of their notebooks. And,
oh, no way!
And we didn't. It was a mistake. And then we opened it up, and it was a list of checklists of things to think about doing. And item number 3 was keep the idea, change the team.
Right. Keep the idea, change the team. Yeah. Wow.
That woke us up.
Wow. Was that in Sand Hill? Was that in Silicon Valley?
That's Sand Hill. So,
wow.
And the other thing is, it used to be, if you had an idea and a great team and you had your kind of demoware, you'd get invested, and that was seed round. Now seed round, you have to have everything working. You have to have your product. You have to have customers. So it's like they keep demanding more and more and more and more. And the real geniuses are just completely blocked out of that system. It's very hard now.
Right.
Because of the risk. The Facebook risk, or that risks they took before, are not happening anymore. And because of that, American entrepreneurship is really throttled back. And it's surprisingly, if you're some dude bro 20-something with a crazy idea let's make wine coolers for parties, they'll love it. They'll invest in it because it's harebrained. But they can't actually see good ideas because they're not smart.
Right. Well. The thing is, not only are these the people that gravitate towards that are not the people with ideas.
That's right.
I learned this in college. I took my last semester. I had to take it was a business consulting class. It was kind of an interesting class because we had to go to these businesses and look at their business and think of what they weren't doing as consultants and basically get them to do something. So we went to this one guy's company and he was doing everything on paper. This is back in 83, or no, this is 80. No, this is 87 or whatever, 88. And he was doing everything on paper, and we said, you could do this on a computer, right? You could get software. So we bought Peachtree Accounting. We taught him how to use it. We did. So we went to these different businesses. But the teacher gave away that he was a Silicon Valley kind of guy. That's why he was teaching us. Now, I'm not saying there can be great teachers. Don't get me wrong. I hate that thing of if you can't do, those who can't do teach. That's bullshit. I've had brilliant teachers, and they just don't care about money. Yeah, it's just there's certain people, they just want to teach. They enjoy, the people that just want money can't understand this, that they would actually want to help other people, young people.
And it's the same thing with inventors. Yeah. We just want to invent. We have passion about it, and we get stuck with these buffoons who are so caught in the money vision. Right.
There's that too. The money guys. Well, this teacher anyway, he was sitting there, and I was coming up with ideas, and I was and finally he looked at me, and I could just, when you're a student, you're always under the teacher, so you never see him as an equal. Well, you're young too. I was young too, right? But all of a sudden I realized that he said something to me. He said something I forgot, it was really clear. He says, guys like you start companies and do better than me, and I hate guys like you. Basically, and he was I was whoa, He gave me a D. My only D in college. He gave me a fucking D. And I was like, my only D. And I was lucky to graduate because it was my last semester, right? I got a D in his class. But it was I realized there's these people, and they are always in this position above the entrepreneurs, the idea people. So anyway, on this thing, I wrote under there, I said, yeah, people that don't have unique ideas think this quote, right? Which is, ideas are common, implementation is hard. They think that. Now, I'm not saying implementation is easy, and I'm not saying everybody can do it, and I'm not saying that second half is not right. It is right. Implementation is hard. Period. For those motherfuckers too. What are they implementing? Yeah. But it's easy to implement giving money to people. It's hard to implement the idea. It's implementation of hard ideas is hard, what it should be. Implementation of boring box cookie cutter ideas is hard, but it's not as hard as doing something brand new that's nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, right? So I wrote under there, and I said, Einstein was Edison was like that, and then Tesla was not. And so then I was going to show this to you guys here. I was going to show the quote. I went back, and my comment was deleted. And it was not a negative quote. It was just like basically destroying their motivational idea of the day. They had 13,000 likes on this thing, and everybody was like, yeah. It's like, ideas are easy. Well, guess what? All those guys agreeing with the idea had no ideas, right? They're just like, give me, and I read all their quotes. It was just stealing up people's ideas. And the best part, I just realized in the pool, is that the quote itself was just stolen from somebody else. That's an oldest idea. I've heard that a million times from people. And this is from a guy fairly recently. He's, not that old, right? That idea I remember hearing when I was little, about ideas are common and implementation is hard. Like, that idea's been around forever. This guy was stealing someone's idea and saying that ideas are easy.
And that was Edison's mantra, which is he was going to spend 10 years, he was going to build 8,000 different prototypes for a light bulb, and eventually he would find it somehow. Whereas Tesla just had a dream of a dragon chasing its tail and immediately came up with alternating current instantly.
Right.
No effort.
Right.
And that's the difference.
And the only danger of this discussion that I see, it was very easy to do, and most people do this, is they will say, well, Edison was like this, Tesla was like this, and they will imply that they are basically Tesla. You know what I mean? Like, the people they're using as the example, they're that level. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that you can name someone's name means that you're like a world-class genius. That is not true. I am not Nikola Tesla, and I would, love to meet the guy, obviously. And I love to meet people like this that are this way. But it is a perfect example for what that is. But I just want to make that caveat that I am not Nikola Tesla, and I do not think I'm Nikola Tesla. And I do not think that Edison had no value in the world either. And I do not think that he was a quote-unquote thief. He was much more than that. Obviously, he was a business builder. Obviously, he knew how to manage people. Obviously, he knew how to raise money. Obviously, he knew how to run a company. He knew some things, right? Definitely. And I didn't know the guy, so I'm not going to believe everything I read about him either, right? But it's pretty clear that he did, basically hire talented people and then patent their ideas or, come up with legal, like, twisting of the things so that it ends up being his. Like the NEC and the blue laser guy, right? He deserved a lot of money for that. That's what brought DVDs and so many modern things to our life, right? Was that invention, right? And he got nothing. That's not right. That's not fucking right. The only thing is, I will say this, and this is you might like this. One thing, I've never heard this. Okay, the Chinese steal a lot of ideas, okay? And in some ways, I'm very against a lot of these things. But in other ways, I'm not. I actually like the way the Chinese steal ideas in some ways. And hear me out here. Is the Western idea of patents is out of date. It's very out of date. You get how many years do you get when you get a patent?
7.
Is it 7 years? So basically now Viagra there's no patent. Right? To me, that's stupid. Like, if you make a drug like that, like a new invention, you should get a longer life for the patent. Now, maybe less money, but there should be a longer life. And also, so basically what I'm saying is patent system is broken on all sides, on either end, on the length of it.
One of the main ways the patent system's broken is it used to be you keep your notebooks and your records and you write the dates on everything, and then when you filed for your patent, the idea of creation date was the key thing, and now it's the patent date. It's a filing date. So you can be the first inventor and first thinker, but now it forces all this protectionism of ideas. Oh, if I tell anybody before I get my patent, you'll lose the idea. So now, and then they added the $5,000 patent express charge. So basically, or $10,000. So basically, only rich companies, big companies, can afford to file all these patents, and the little inventor can't. And I've actually gotten a quote from a lawyer to file a patent on one of my ideas for like $250,000.
Now, was that a global patent or was that just U.S.?
Just U.S.
See, that doesn't even cover shit, right? That's just America.
You can't do it. So what they've done is they've basically set up a system that if you're an idea person, if you're an inventive person, you just basically have to say, I'm just going to implement better and win that way and make everything public, because the patents are, even if I do get it, aren't going to really protect me.
Well, it's kind of like Tesla gave away most of their patents, right? And in the beginning of the company, and that was very smart actually of them, But yeah, you have to like build it on speed and all that. But here's it about the Chinese, is okay. I learned Chinese language when I was learning Chinese language. When I was learning Japanese language, I basically talked like the person that was teaching me. So I basically I had one girl in Japan, and I talked just like her, like a girl, because Japanese is male and female language. There's different languages. And people would say, well, you talk like a girl. I didn't care at all because I was trying to get fluent. Once you're fluent, it's easy to change. Because you can hear everything. It's like no problem. The key is don't be afraid of copying because you have to copy to get fluent. Once you're fluent, it's fucking easy to talk like whatever you want to talk like. You can talk with a southern twang or what the fuck you want to do. You can play on words, because now you're fluent. So the key is don't be afraid of copying because you have to do that for a long goddamn time before you become fluent. And then once you're fluent, it's fine. So I would say the Chinese, like in some ways, I really love the way the Chinese do things because they steal a lot of ideas. Let me give you an example. So if you go to the supermarket, Walmart now, you're going to get a teeth whitener for like $10 or $20. Now that was stolen from a hardcore dental company that charges like only the dentist could use it. Okay, so it was like big money because it was this hand job thing going to the dentist and they use this, special mold of your teeth and then it's like this and like that. It's just basically this big, super expensive thing, but they invented it, so they had the right to do that. But for the consumer, it is actually better the Chinese way that they stole it because some people are still going to go to the dentist and pay that price anyway. It's not like they're going to lose all their money. But at the same time, people like me will say, I don't use teeth whitener, but if I was gonna, I would just go to the fucking Walmart and just do it, right?
I was gonna say
because it's $20 and I can do it myself and when I sleep.
With a lot of startups, you go into stealth mode. Nobody can know about your idea, and you completely shield it. And every startup I've ever done, I always make everything public. I always put it all out there. I'm like, you think you're better than me? Let's see you try it. I think I'm the best.
Right.
And
right.
And then it's a fight, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these companies are like, oh, we're in stealth and we've got our funding and now we're going to launch and tell you our idea. Like they're so guarded about it. Well, I'm like, well, it must not be very good because you can't stand up to anybody else. You know?
Right. Oh, that's my favorite. I want to tell you an idea, but you got to sign NDA. It's like, don't sign NDAs to listen to ideas. Because anybody who wants you to sign an idea is not even worth hearing because they're going to be all 3-inch about it. They're going to think you stole it anyway. They're so paranoid they don't even talk. Don't tell me the idea. I don't want to hear it. Like, please fucking don't go. I'm out of. See you. Thank you very much. Bye. Don't tell me the idea because I don't even want to fucking hear it. Because then if they might even yell at it as I'm driving away because if you even hear it, they're going to be like all paranoid that you're going to say it. It's like they'll be like, well, what if you, it's like, don't, if somebody's like that weird, I don't even want to, like, please don't tell me the idea. Like, it's like you say, it's like, it's for, like, inventing it's a, what do you call it? It's like a physical sport. It's like a hard thing.
It's a solitary, driven passion, insanity.
That's right. It's the edge. It's the cutting, what is that? The razor's edge of insanity, right?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
And also it's doing the impossible. Everyone else thinks you can't do it. And either you're stupid enough or smart enough to just do it regardless. Yeah. You break all the rules. You do things that other company says that's never going to work, and then you make it work. And that's part of the creative genius effort.
But here's the worst part. When you do that, everyone will say, I had that same idea.
Oh, your idea has no value.
Well, no, they'll say, I had that same idea. I was going to do that. Yeah, I was going to do it. And I think these people actually, I think their brain like rewrites it or something, where they kind of like somehow imagine that because they heard it like last week in a Newsweek article or whatever, they forget they read it and they think it's now their idea. Like people basically steal ideas without even knowing they're stealing. That's the thing. If they knew they were stealing, it's one thing. But they don't even know they're stealing. That's the worst part. People that steal ideas, they are sure they have not stolen the idea. Or they think they're going to steal their idea, right? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the worst part is when you finish everything, when you do it and you get it done and it's out there and you're done, and then everybody's like, well, I had that same idea. And it's not that so they say the ideas are cheap because they think they had it. But actually, if they were super honest with themselves, they would remember that actually they didn't fucking have that idea. Because the idea is different. That's why it worked. That's why it was unique. Because it was, everybody has an idea of going to A to B, nourishing your body. These are ideas that everybody has. But it's how you do it. It's the details, right, of this new way of getting from A to B or nourishing your body or something.
And
right?
there's another thing we always say, which is the last 10 steps are the hardest, because when you get to the very end of it, you're so bored with everything. To actually finish up something and get it out there and actually complete all the little details on it is very, very hard. It's much harder than you think. So people that actually finish things are very determined, because you're going through the muck of it and you're still finishing it anyways.
But at the same time, I don't mind like going halfway with a great idea and not finishing it.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, like I like that too. This is like leaving and going to a new idea, even though I know it's good, even though I know it would make money. It's like I'm just tired of it personally. I'm like, fuck that idea.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get exhausted.
I've already done this
you've
fucking
done
idea.
it, You've thought out. You've proven it can happen. So actually taking it the last steps into product and market can be really boorish.
Well, plus too, you start by then that point in the idea. Once
You've
it's
had other ideas.
well, not just that, but you can kind of see where the road goes now.
Right.
And so you see all the idiots you're going to have to deal with if you take that road from now on. Like when you're inventing, it was like you were just inventing, right?
So like when
but now all of a sudden you're thinking of who you're going to have to work with, a real office, dealing with this, dealing with that. And then you're like, wait, that's the whole reason why I started this, was to not do that.
So like with my company, we have our core product, and then I hired someone, and he's all set to start work on the core product, which is really exciting. And I'm immediately like, no, start on this other idea. I mean, this is really cool. We really want to do this.
Right.
And it's like I can't hold back the excitement of getting into the next level of how it expresses it.
Yeah.
So now that I've gone through the first level, I can see even more that nobody else can see, and I want to do the next level.
Right.
But I can't hold back, and I've got to finish up the old stuff. So it's like somebody else. I was like, I don't even care. Just go on this thing. This is going to be even more cool.
In one part of myself, I don't even care if I eat or live or make any money at all. Like if I just make the idea, and come up with it and like see it through where it's going to go, and actually have the experience to know that it's actually going to go that way, right?
It's like composing a song.
It's like done. It's like beautiful.
You're composing a song. You're doing it not for the money. You're doing it because you had a vision of beauty and you want to realize it.
I don't know if it's beauty, but I don't even know if it's vision. But yeah, it's for me. It's like some kind of beast that needs to get out of me.
Needs to be tamed.
Yeah, the beast is in there. You got to get rid of it and clear it out, and get it whatever, kind of work it through. Work it through. It's like what is that thing when you pee those chunks of hard things.
No, kidney stones?
Kidney stones, yeah. It's like a kidney stone for sometimes. It's just like you have this idea and you got to pee it out. Got to get rid of it.
Or for me, it's like writing books. I'll be writing my 12th book, and I've got 3 books in line ahead that I already know exactly what they are, and I really want to get to them, but I can only get to them when I finish up and do the long process of publishing the one I'm currently on.
And you've written many books, yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the other way to think too: is I think don't get the idea that all these ideas are whatever, like some kind of, I don't know what you would think of as a genius idea, but whatever you would think of as a genius, if you would think Einstein was a genius, you would think that, whatever that's I'm not even talking about that. It's just something brand new. Right? So like when I was in Shanghai and I was sitting there and my business was getting stolen from me and I realized I had to make an online business, John from Japan was living with me, right? So we were going to work on this together. We're going to brainstorm this idea, and it was the summer. It was fucking baking hot. It was me and him, and I had fucked up my knee, so I couldn't walk. So I had crutches, and I couldn't even get a cup of coffee because I had to come with my crutches to the other side of the room. I had to make the coffee, then I had to pour it into a plastic bottle, put the top on, put backpack on, put it in my backpack, crutches across the room, and then take the thing and have a backpack with a cup and the bottle of hot coffee in there, and then pour it into the cup and sit there and drink the cup until it's done, right? And so that's what I had to do to make a cup of coffee. It was really hard. So, and John was helping me too. He was helping stuff I couldn't do, and I was doing that too when he was busy, and we were trying to create a new idea. We literally wrote ideas, and I have a picture of a stack of papers about a foot high, and I still have it somewhere on my Google Photos. And it's like those are all new, different ideas for an online course that I was going to make, and each one was something that I knew, and it was a course I could make that I thought, would people buy it? Would they be interested? And I ended up coming up with an idea that succeeded from one of those ideas, and then turned that into my first online course, right? But it was like that summer with John was insanity. Like literally, it was insanity. We both, in a sense, we both like hated each other, and we were going crazy at the same time. Like I really am not exaggerating. Like we were just like in the house. I was cooking this soup in the pressure cooker, so we didn't have to go outside because we could just work. And I'm throwing out ideas. I got the whiteboard. I'm writing ideas. I'm crossing things out. We're trying to debate these ideas all the time. We're researching things like crazy. We get the camera set up. We're shooting videos to lights and everything. We're just like shooting, and then we're like, that sucks. Fuck that. That's no good. This is no good. We just did that like all summer. Meanwhile, my knee's fucked, and it's blazing hot. And I don't know why we didn't have the air conditioner on. We were sweating our asses off for some reason. I can't remember why. Maybe it was too noisy for the cameras. Yeah, that's what it was. It was too noisy, so we couldn't have the air conditioner on. So we're just sweating our ass off. We're in our underwear, basically. And we're just sitting there all summer just coming up with ideas. And finally, John just went crazy and left, right? He's like, after like 2 or 3 months of this, right? And maybe it was 6 months. And then I read the story of the Pet Sounds of the Beach Boys making the Pet Sounds, album. And it's a very similar story. It was like perfectionism. It was like, Brian Wilson was pushing this project, and I was the Brian Wilson in this case. I was pushing. I wanted to make something great and something brand new. And it was like, we were like it was like two musicians trying to like, write the music together and sing together. And like, it was. I have to say, it was one of the most meaningful summers of my life. And John and I then afterwards, I think we became deeper friends, better friends, because we did something together. It was beautiful. It was fucking beautiful what we did. We went through a gazillion ideas and we came up with something that actually worked, and the company made money. It was fucking amazing. I was going to do this episode with John, but our times never time up. So I haven't, but I'm going to send it to him. But it's like, if you can be in part of something where you're creating an idea I think here's the problem. You have to make a lot of businesses before. No, some people could just do it maybe from the beginning. But for me, all my experience with business helped me with the next one. So whenever I make an idea, I'm always like thinking of all the things I've seen and done and other people have done. And I'm taking it all into consideration when I'm seeing that road ahead. But sometimes like a young kid, 10 years old, could do this with no experience at all. Could just see this whole thing for a certain idea.
So I have a question. So is it that the motivational people, those I won't be insulting.
Yeah.
Were they saying they value the idea or they value the effort?
What they were saying was, what I thought they were saying. Okay, now whether they were really saying, I really believe what they were saying was, basically, don't tell me of an idea. We're the guys who implement. We're the implementers.
We're the implementers.
Yeah, we're the Edisons. We're the Edisons, and you just have an idea, you scumbag.
That's funny because that's the same thing that the VCs say. Is
exactly.
The ideas mean nothing, whatever.
Yeah.
You just gotta build a whole company and make it profitable, and then we'll invest.
Right. Now I want to add this though. The VCs have value. I mean, people that invest in an idea when an idea doesn't have any money, it's an extremely valuable thing. People that invent a patent is a valuable thing. The Chinese stealing it actually is a valuable thing because it takes it from 0.00001% of the population doing it to like 50%. Everyone at Walmart can get this stuff now. So I mean, I think there's value in both. It's not black and white. Like even the VCs, they have value if done right. So I'm not saying I'm not taking the entrepreneur side. The entrepreneur is always right, and like it doesn't matter. It's no. Building a business is a cool thing. Like somebody very close to me built a business that you guys know, very big business, and I got to see the thing, and I saw him implement it very methodically, but also with class and with honor. Like he actually built this big business exactly like he says he built it. Like his marketing of the company is exactly what he really did. He's like honest to the core. And then here's the thing. Now he's a gazillionaire, right? So guess what he is now? He's Illuminati in people's mind. Because this is a huge company. Like this is a massive company, right? So he the most honest guy with a great passion, and now I got to say, though, he did steal the idea. He did steal the idea, actually.
But
he implemented it with honor. He implemented it with honor.
But he stole one idea.
He stole part of it, but he probably modified
He improved it.
He
And it's kind of like Mark Zuckerberg. He wasn't the first. I mean, obviously.
So you see the potential. You have the vision.
I love Mark Zuckerberg, too. I like Mark Zuckerberg, too. And it's right now it's not popular like Mark Zuckerberg.
When Mark stole the idea, it was Harvard's little connection book for students.
But even then, was it really an idea? Is a tire? If you make a tire company, are you stealing an idea or you're making a tire?
Right.
Like, are you stealing an idea? Yes or no? If you make a tire. No. You're making a fucking tire. He made a social media company. He made a social network in the time of social networks were all over the place. Already. There was tons of them. So I mean, I don't think he stole the idea even, personally. I mean, that's like this kind of 3-incher thing, like, I make coffee this way, so you copied me. It's like everybody fucking makes coffee. Like, it's not that unique, I don't think he really stole it. But his idea was the way to
launch it, the way to grow it was to bring all the colleges in, and that got enough people there so that you can bootstrap it up. If you just build,
he saw way more than that.
But I'm saying, if you just built the
data,
social network, you don't have the people there, so nobody goes there. So all these ideas have chicken egg issues. And I think Zuck's improvement on it was he saw I could jump to every college, get all the college people, and then I can open up to everybody else because there'll already be tons of people there.
Well, also it's a very they post a lot.
Students
are they're
so most good ideas.
Well, there's life. There's life
there.
A
lot of great ideas have potential, but they're empty markets. They're chicken egg. How do you get the first people in so that other people will come in? It's very tricky.
Right. So that could be the genius, is that the genius is in getting people to do it. Because the internet started with, like basically DARPA and universities sharing information. But the key thing was, I remember I used a 3.1 Windows and we had an Inside Japan net. I forgot what it was called. And then you could send a message to Hokkaido or whatever. And it was like pretty exciting, And then I was like, but the thing is, there was no life in the thing. The life was in somebody being on the other end and sending you a message back. So it was not even in the technology. It was in the people that you had. You could have a meeting of people talking about a new idea and get nothing out of it. It depends on who's there. Like, you got chairs, you have people, you have air conditioner, but who's sitting in those chairs? Right, that's the difference. Is like that can be genius too.
And that's the big company curse, because all the smart people tend to get bored in that environment.
Oh no, I'm talking about the users of Facebook.
Oh, the users of Facebook.
Like, who was the people sitting in the chairs that were that were sharing those original ideas, that were the contributors? Because I'll read people say that social media is all bullshit, and you know what I know right away, they have stupid friends. Because if you think social media is bullshit, it's because you have idiot friends. So if you have idiot friends, right, you're going to go to Facebook and all you're going to see is idiot ideas. And then you're going to be like, oh, social media sucks. They're all idiot. It's all the stupidest thing. But if you have really smart people on your Facebook, you're going to be fucking creating things all the time, launching things, researching things, digging into things. Like my Facebook, I'm always like digging into new ideas with my friends.
And
I'll post poetry, I'll post stuff. We'll always be pushing the boundaries. It's very exciting.
The terrifying thing about Facebook is it's a mirror of who you are. And so it's almost like if somebody looks at that's like a vision of you.
Right.
And it's, if you think of it that way, it's almost terrifying, because like after you've used it for a couple of years, you look back and you're like, oh, I'm really into cat videos. Uh-oh.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with being into cat videos. I mean, the thing is like, you could become very successful in any weird niche in the world. So it's not necessarily that there's one thing that's good and bad. Like you could take some, like, there's so many ways to be successful, right, in life. So I wouldn't say like necessarily cat videos would be. I'm sure somebody's brilliant with cat videos and comes up with stuff.
But to the main point, it's a tricky path to be the idea, the inventor, the spark, and navigate the roads through business and navigate the roads to success, because it's almost like you're in a very different mindset of creativity.
Yeah.
And for you, that's what's the important part. But then you try to bring it out into the business, and everyone else is in the mindset of corporate money and other things.
Okay.
It's like two waves hitting each other.
So let's take this idea. Let's do this. Let's take different hats. We wear different hats, right? So let's take the hat of the not the entrepreneur, right? The manager type of guy. Now the manager has value you hire managers for specific reasons to do things that you need done, right? If you're not a good manager and you're a good entrepreneur, like I'm an idea guy, but I'm not a good manager.
Right.
So whenever I've had a company, I've always thought, oh, managers, this is what I used to think. I used to think managers, they're just like these boring people. They don't, I just didn't get them. Like, I'm very good at finding talent. I can right away, when I saw you, I'm just like talent. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. But I can see talent right away. But I hate managers. So like, I just never liked, I'm not saying I've changed actually. Now I can see some value in managers. But before I hated managers. So I'd always say, I thought everybody was like me. I'm like, let's get a bunch of fucking raw talent around. We're going to do cool shit, And it is cool. I mean, it's fun. But it is good to have some manager type people out there because they can do stuff that can help us to go to where we want to go, right? They don't have to be the same, and it's not good or bad. So I would say like the VC's idea, the problem is that the people get too proud of what hat they have on, what their hat is, right? So the VCs in that quote, they're basically saying like, they're basically self-justify stealing people's ideas.
Or what they say the most is, well, I did my company and it got bought and I'm successful, so I already have all this, rank and order. I've done what you're trying to do already, and that's just old hat for me.
Oh,
and now
God.
I'm a VC.
Oh, success.
But, yeah, now I'm a VC because that's the end goal of success. But that's not true because the real inventor will immediately jump and do the next company. They will never become a VC.
Well, not only that, the smart person who succeeds realize it was mostly luck.
It is a combination.
Yeah, it's mostly
in the
luck.
right place at the right time.
It's mostly luck.
It's
It's mostly luck because
a lot of luck.
even a brilliant idea is still mostly luck. Even if you have the brilliant idea, when you're taking the brilliant idea into the world, it's like that great movie Sugar Man. You ever see Sugar Man? Oh, you should watch that. It's this. I don't want to give it too much away, but it's like this guy who was definitely a genius and he never succeeded until he was just about to die. But this doesn't give it away at all. It's a fantastic movie. We should watch it. But it's in the field of music, right? And so it's just like he just didn't have the luck to go. He was so close. I never saw the movie, but I thought the title was good. Almost Famous. Yeah, and he's kind of like Almost Famous. Even though I didn't see Almost Famous, I know the concept is pretty easy to understand. It's somebody who was so close, they had the talent, and they were right next to Famous, and looking at Famous, and then not quite. Just there's one little thing that just didn't make them famous, right? It's like I've seen that kind of. It is luck too. It's so much luck. So success. So basically, people will say, "Well, track record." I have a track record. Okay. Well, track record honestly doesn't really mean that much. Even though it does, it depends on which way you look at it. In one way, it doesn't mean much because I could say when the things I've done well, like the business I built in China, I could say I have a track record. I could get really high on my horse with this one if I wanted to. Oh, I get real high because China was hard to succeed, right? And I could go into all the details. I could give you tons of details, how hard we worked, the brilliant things I did and this and that. But the reality is I know there's people smarter than me who failed in China with really great ideas for some other just random fucking reason, that happened, right? So I think it's not just even track record. Don't trust, if you're young, don't trust people's track record completely. Just because it could have been luck. It's mainly luck. Life is mainly luck.
And it's a lot of timing.
Like what body did you get?
A lot of it is timing. So what idea you bring out when at what time. If it happens at exactly the right time, it's going to take off like wildfire. If it happens 3 years too late, it's just going to sit there and you'll be like, but it's a good idea. Right.
There's a million things like that, right? There's a million things that could make it go or not. Just think of your body, right? Just think of anything that you have, dick, titties, whatever. It's just luck. Whatever you got, it's just fucking luck, right? It's just whatever you were born with, right? And most of life is like that. That doesn't mean you should be all cynical, because there's so much to enjoy in life. But it is a lot of luck, and business is like that too.
I think the important thing though is you can take everything we're saying about business and apply it to your own life, because all the rules and all the aspects of being successful as an inventor, a creator, or a business creator, it's actually very similar to everything about life.
What are you thinking? Like what way you?
I think
make an example or something.
Well, I mean, you have to be persevere and you have to keep trying, but it isn't necessarily brute force to win in your own life either. You have to have a bit of luck. You have to have a bit of spark. a bit of invention.
Well, that's if you want to succeed. Some people don't even care about succeeding. They literally just like the part they do. You know, like in some ways, I could write, like I like to do certain things, and I really don't even, like I write some poetry and stuff like that. I really don't even care if anybody ever reads it. Like I really enjoy it. If I come out with something that's like good, it's like, whoa, you know, fuck yeah, that's I like that. You know, that's good. You know,
I guess what I'm trying to say,
I'm not trying to make a book out of it.
What I'm trying to say is there's a mindset, and it's very hard to put in a few words, but it's some combination of you're determined, you don't accept the rules of the world, you're inventive, you're open, and you also have a vision to pull things together. That mindset is what works in business, but it also works in your own personal life.
Okay.
In terms of being successful in anything.
So it's the same bag of tricks or skills or whatever.
It's this combination mindset we don't have one word for it, but when you put all of these aspects together, your life changes, your business changes, and you go from being a cube dweller to a successful person.
Well, one thing that helped me, shifting the topic a little bit, that helped me to see my different sides was IFS. Internal Family Systems. It's a therapy technique, and basically, well, there's IFS and there's another one. It's similar. IFS tries to change your recreate ideas in the way that will rewire your brain, and there's other ones where you're looking at the different personalities that are inside of you, and manage these multiple aspects of yourself, and allow them to like satisfy them so that they don't drown out the other ones, right? So the kid inside that's hurt inside, you know, listen to him, but don't let him overpower the group. Like, you know, like, so it's like there's two different therapies. But what was interesting about both of them, that really was, for me, was interesting, was when I was looking at these things, I realized that there was a corporate guy inside of me. And the corporate guy was like a corporate business guy. Like a corporate guy who goes overseas and does deals. Like I always think of a corporate guy as just a boring guy in a suit. But there's actually corporate guys that get shit done. And I know them because they come to Asia. The top corporate guys like this, they often come to Asia because they're doing partnerships, governmental deals, you know, intergovernmental deals. They're doing like consulting for large projects. And this type of corporate guy is not an empty suit, you know. But at the same time, he knows how to play the game perfectly. Like he doesn't use any dirty words. He doesn't.
Polished.
He's polished, and he doesn't get caught. And he also likes to have fun, but it's for him, having fun is maybe walking to a dangerous part of town and having pizza or something, right? You know, and at a time when it's fairly safe, you know, like he doesn't quite go. Now he inside could be, if he didn't have this job, he maybe could be the type that would go over the other way, you know, but either way, with his job, he's just like a tame. He's like a, what do you call it? He's like a mature adult. He's a mature, wise adult that understands like all kinds of people issues, understands politics in a company, understands technology, understands sales, and he has a large variety of skills in there. And he's polished, and he knows how to kind of manage people and manage himself, right? Because he keeps himself healthy. He drinks enough water. You know what I mean? He has a handle on that kind of stuff. Doesn't get out of hand. He doesn't drink too much. He kind of keeps things. When
you see these people,
yeah,
and you only see them rarely, you immediately sense their presence. That's one thing you'll know about them, is they have a presence. They have something different in their eyes. They have a weightiness. They say gravitas, but it's not quite that. And they're extremely calm and relaxed and at ease.
Right.
And yet to be so at ease and project so much strength is very powerful. And that's almost why they get the deals, because they put other people at ease, but they also trigger confidence.
Right. They can carry the weight of the company on their back.
That's right.
And
without struggling and looking tired.
Right. They got to show up fresh, right? But I realize that I respect these guys because I always hated kind of corporate guys. Like one thing I hate about going to 5-star hotels, it's full of corporate people.
Yeah. I
mean, 5-star hotels they're like hand job factories for corporate people. Nobody else goes, basically. If you ever live in a corporate hotel, if you ever live in a 5-star hotel for a month, which I have for the month or two, you're sitting there and you're looking around and you realize there's no entrepreneurs around here. You know, like there's a couple of fucking tourists, right? But 95% of these motherfuckers are corporate people trying to act cool.
I'll tell a quick story.
Trying to be travelers.
I'll tell a real quick story. So I'm with my company. I'm at a trade show, and I'm trying to like pitch people and talk to everyone. Everyone's coming by as like an MBA, dude, bro, middle manager, salesperson-y guy. And I cannot connect them because I'm the genius inventor. So I have my own middle manager guy who I don't relate to at all. I can't understand him at all. And he was there. So I'm like trying to talk, and it's like everything's fragmented and disconnected. And he just shows up, and suddenly they're all friends and talking, and they've got the deals flowing, and he fits in perfectly with all of them. So that's another.
And he respects you too.
And he respects me too,
right.
And I respect him. So I respect what he does that I cannot do. Because if I get in a room full of MBAs that are all talking dollars, it isn't that they know anything about dollars that I don't know or economic theory. I know more than them. It's that I'm not connecting at that social level that way because they're in a very different world.
Right. I now doing these therapy and also knowing myself better. Here's what I find myself in a situation of, and it's one of my personalities, is like I can do that. The social, the presentation, the polished, but I'm not a detail person. So I'll understand the concept, but I'm not a detail person at all. So when it gets to, I've been in deals where I literally brought 2 large companies together for a merger. And when it gets down, this has happened more than once. But they know me. Both these guys, like they already knew me and trusted me. That's why they got together under my guidance, right? But when it got to the deal, this happened, like I can remember 3 times in different businesses where I brought a big deal together. And then when it got down to it, they said, Paul, don't say anything because you don't know the details. And like that would be a huge diss to most people. But see, for me, it's not. Because they're right. I brought them together. I saw the vision. I saw these 2 things could do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to be, like I know the details that they're going to work those out. That's their job. They're going to bring in all their managers. They're going to work it. And if I get involved anymore, I've done my magic. I'm done. I got nothing else.
There's also something.
Like I've already done what I do. My smartest thing is just to go.
Just to let back.
Like laugh at myself a little bit because it would be nice if I knew everything, right? It'd be nice if I could join that next stage. But as long as I know people enough to know I can trust them too, that they know who I am.
They know your role.
And they
know the role you're playing
right.
in the meeting. And see, one of the problems I had starting out was I was like a genius entrepreneur, and I'd also be the CEO, and I'd go in and I'd pitch, and they'd be like, well, that's just techie talk. And now I go in and I'm like, this guy over to my right, he's the CTO. I'm the visionary. Right. And immediately I have all this gravitas about the business, and they'll talk to me, and they won't dismiss it as, oh, it's just a techie vision that has no weight to it. So, like feeding people your role.
But you're stepping back and you're letting the other person do their thing too. Also, you're giving respect to the other people.
But the more important part is for the people across the table, you're projecting your role to them. And you're not letting them pigeonhole you in the wrong role. So sometimes that takes bringing another person. I mean, in your regular life, you always have to be cautious of how you're positioning your role to others, because you do get pigeonholed. You do get like all this like, oh, well, if you do one thing, you can't do another thing. That's how people think. You only can have one skill.
Okay, how I handle that is you can't be afraid of breaking eggs to make an omelet in a big meeting. So if you're bringing like heavy guys together, they could be very heavy people, right? You're bringing them together. You have to be able to say, look, shut the fuck up. This is not going the way it should be going. Like this is going down the wrong path.
That's right. You have to wake people up.
If you see stuff and you're dealing with heavy people, what you tend to do is once you bring them together, then you get kind of scared because you're like, you're rightly saying this person is very talented and successful, and the reason why you jump in is for no other reason than you have a vision, you can see where it's supposed to go, and it is getting off track. And so your job is just to get it back on track. You're not at all treating them like, you're not like give me a badge and I can tell you what to do. It's not that at all. You see what you're supposed to. Your job, it's like a dog. If a dog does the wrong thing, jumps up on people, you have to train the dog not to do that. Otherwise, everyone's going to have the dog outside.
And
the dog wants to be happy inside the house,
part
right?
Is it's even the people across the table that you're needy for.
Yes.
You still have to put them in
the
their place.
The bank,
the
or whatever.
The investors, you still have to have the ability to stand up and say, stop that.
But
That's not right.
only when it's absolutely necessary,
Only when it's absolutely
and just at
necessary.
the right moment, and then you basically have to step aside.
And you only have to do it once, because once you've done it once, that stops.
True, and also once people realize that you have the capacity to step in like that with heavy people, and the heavy people appreciate it too because they get tired. Really successful people, say famous, successful, they have everything, right? They got the whole package. Those type of people get tired of everybody being afraid of telling them they're wrong. Because these are people that are smart enough to know they're wrong sometimes.
They're surrounded by sycophants.
And the thing is, they like the fact that everybody agrees with them. But they know also, they can see the future, and they know that's not good for them in the long term. So they really need somebody who has that capacity to come in at the right time and say, no, let's look at it this way. I know what you're saying, but let's look at it a whole different way and do it in a way that can help them to be more successful.
I'll feed into that.
Yeah.
I'll tell my story at IBM in Helsinki. So I'm over there. It's five companies, 5 teams that nobody will work together. We have our own core team, and half of them are terrible. I was hired just to architect the thing. I wasn't hired to manage anybody. So I went in and I figured out all the problems with the architecture, but then I figured out all the problems with the teams and the people. I went back to my manager, told him exactly the real shit that was going on, and that he had serious problems. He went away for a day, didn't see him, came back the next day, said, Gia, can you run everything? Can you just take over and manage everything? And I said, yep, I can do that. And because he wanted somebody who wasn't going to bullshit him, and he wanted to hear the truth, and he could not figure out why the project was falling apart.
Oh.
Everybody was lying to his face, and he had no sense of reality. And because I went in as a junior, everybody gossiped with me. In fact, they actually thought I was coming in as a junior programmer. And so everybody started gossip with me and like, oh, you're the new Kevin, you're the new junior person. Oh yeah, I said, well, what's going on here? What's this like? Because I was a junior person, everyone just spilled their guts. So every team spilled their guts to me about all the other teams. I was able to figure out exactly what was wrong. And I went back and I told the manager. So managers like that are really running these huge things, or wherever they are, they're desperate for the truth. And they don't like to work with people that tell them the truth necessarily. But if you can jump in for a short time, everybody ended up hating me at some point. But if you can jump in, give them the truth, that's the most valuable information. And I know you did the same thing for a few companies.
Yeah, the only thing you could do, I would say, like, just if I would critique that, what I heard of that is I think one of the things I always try to do when people tell me stuff is I recognize that this information is from another person. So whoever told me something. So you told me information, and that information is red hot, right? I can go and use that and implement it. But I always want to... It's almost like
keep some of it.
Well, no, there's invisible ties to you. Like a spider web is still connected to you because you came up with the idea. So what I do is I don't rip it out of and cut the net off and say, this is my idea, and go to the people or go to implement it. I will always recognize that you own part of that idea because you're telling it me so that I will do it. Like you're not telling me so that I won't do anything. Like you want the idea to be implemented, and even though it's your idea, but you also want
to be fixed.
You want it to be fixed, but you also want some kind of credit for it and control over it. So this is what I'm good at is knowing that everybody gave me something instead of just coldly taking it and going using it. I will always recognize, and sometimes I'll even not even use some ideas. I'll go that far.
Keep them.
No, I won't use them because I know they don't want me to. So they want me to know it, but they don't want me to do it.
But sometimes
because if I do it, the person that I do it to is going to know it's from him.
But
so
sometimes you gather it all up just to get the lay of what the heck's going on, and then what you actually pitch back or you solve with isn't at all really related to all the little stories. But
Right.
you've come up with your own solution based on what you know is happening.
Right. I'm saying like just make sure that you're respecting the
Boundaries.
the person that gave me the idea, you know, and just to like allow
you don't
them.
go in as like a Benedict Arnold and.
Well, but this is what people think it is. Like they tell you an idea and then you go and do it. I think just always remember that idea came from somebody.
On the other hand,
Ask them their opinion, and you can even say to them, you can say, look, you told me this idea. So this is such a key idea. I know you don't want me to use it, but I am going to use it because I have to. But is there anything I can do to make it easier on you? Like I'm going to use it, even though I know it's your worst nightmare. but I'm going to do it tomorrow at the meeting, and I can tell you, and then you can say, whatever, however you feel. If you're really strong, you might be really angry, you might cry, you might worry about things, but you'll respect the fact that I told you I was going to do it before I did it. I gave you credit for having the idea, but I just explained, like, there's no way I can say it. The company cannot have this happen, right? So, or the deal cannot have this thing not being said. So even though you don't want me to use it, I'm going to use it, but is there anything I can do to make it better for you? Is there a way I can implement it? Is there a way you can get promoted? Is there a way that I can make you in charge of it? Is there anything I can do that will somehow make it more palatable for you? Is there, I can present it this way so that it doesn't look like it's from you, or something I can, or maybe I can protect the person that you're worried about getting hurt by this. I can protect that person and then let the other people go, because I'm respecting the fact that you gave me the idea. So if you have a friend that was going to get fired in a group, I might find another job for them, right? So that you feel, the other ones you don't really care about, but there's one person you're like, they really deserve to be part of this team somehow, even though they fucked up, they deserve. So that's what I'm really good at, is balancing the different people, and that really, really helps, I think, in order to be that manager, that corporate person, whether it's corporate or not. I'm just using the word corporate to describe a role, right? A role.
I think it's the same with all the relationships in your life, business or otherwise. You always, most people will just be completely direct. They'll hear things, they'll respond. But if you're a wise person, you'll take things in and digest them and think on them, see where they position, and then work with it. Work with your knowledge, but work with it intently, mentally thinking on it for a while.
Right.
And whether that's in a business relationship or trying to fix a completely screwed up situation, or if that's just in personal relationships, maybe you have someone who's obviously very sick, or is on drugs, or whatever. There's all the kinds of things that come up. And the best advice is, get as much information as you can as a listener, take as much in, and digest it and figure out the paths that lead to the right place.
Right. And the thing I'm going to end on this, unless there's more ideas, but is that this is a very difficult, painful role, because you are taking the role of the secret holder.
Yes.
See, the secret holder is a very depressing role, because you get people tell you secrets that you're not allowed to tell other people, because you're allowing them to control their idea, to have those spider webs connected to them. So it might even be something illegal. There could be many things, and you could be held with this idea that you didn't want to hold, but not necessarily, like, illegal is not the big challenge I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is, like, for example, in a family, a secret or something. I have secrets. People tell me secrets a lot. I don't know why. People always tell me secrets. And the thing is, once they tell you, it's a burden in a way. But people trust me. That's why I was a good recruiter, because they would say, we have this secret thing we're doing. You can't tell anybody, but you have to find somebody to lead this thing. It's like, how can I, people, when you first get the job, you're like, how can I fucking not tell them and get the guy you got to lead it? Right? But that's the problem. You're trying to find somebody to lead something, you can't tell them what it is. And if you describe it too much, they're going to figure it out. These fucking guys are smart, right? So, but the secret holder, the person that has this discipline, as the corporate kind of role, whatever, the polished, that role is a heavy role, because you have to be solemnly keep these secrets with you, right? You cannot let these get out, because that's your role. Because most people, they can't do that, so they just spill the secrets and hurt everybody, because they just don't have the discipline to do that. I have the discipline to do that, because I grew up in a crazy alcohol home, so I had to keep secrets all the time. So I got used to knowing how to do that. Maybe that skill came in handy, because it's not secrets like some fucking nuclear project. It's just someone's feelings, and someone who told, or something like that, right? Everybody wants to know who told, who said that, and then you're like, it's never going out, right? It's never gonna, it's never coming out.
I think it takes a little bit of age and wisdom to have your pace mellow, so that you're not so reactive to everything. Most young people, or a lot of people, are very reactive immediately. And it's only when you have been through situations, it's like being in war. It's your fifth war. You're not going to be so flustered about it. You know the routines. You know what's going on. And I think having that time to be reflective and not so immediately reactive builds up a lot of potential of what you can accomplish.
Maybe for me, because I didn't have it as a natural skill, but I can imagine a 20-year-old who could have this naturally, this kind of wisdom and ability. Yeah,
some do.
Like, for me, it wasn't,
Jobs
but
had
it took me time, But I could see there's definitely going to be people that are like savants. They just fucking get it, from the beginning, right?
When Jobs was trying to do Mac, he just literally walked through and he said, I need you, and I'm taking you, and I'm taking you, and we're all coming into this room. Now, Jobs had it. He had that gravitas and leadership, and he understood everybody's little social thing, and this person was really difficult, but man, they could code, and he was able to put it all together. And I think that's what we've lost in the internet age. We're so disconnected now. We're all just separate, isolated people without a tribe. And if we can recoup that sense of having that rich resoluteness about our soul, about how we interact with people, we just become more powerful.
I think it's, I don't know about that, but I think that when you interact with somebody who has a similar mindset, you find people that you click with. So I don't think it's about building with them. I think it's about finding them and being around them. You don't have to build shit because you guys have the same thing going on. So you don't have to even try. You can just be in the vicinity of this person and it all works out fine. I don't think it's a matter of focused attention or anything. And just the key is just finding the people. And then it'll all work out because they'll all kind of find their roles. I watch people, they'll watch from afar and they're waiting for their chance. They see, and then they come in when they see their, it's like everybody kind of knows what the idea is and they come forward when they're ready, when their part is there or something to implement, right? It does, yeah. That's the thing about having talented people is nobody needs really to manage them. Really talented people, they don't need to be motivated. They don't need to be managed. The main thing is if they say they need some kind of weird glue or some chemical, you just go get it. You order it. You don't even have to ask them what it's for or why they're doing it. It's their focus, just get the thing over there to them. Okay, yeah. Make sure everything's, they can just keep, focused on whatever it is.
When I follow up with my best employees, I'll go over my chest, what about this? Have you thought? Yeah, I did that yesterday. I did that 3 days ago. I've already got that, and I've already thought of an even better solution. I'm like, yes, that's exactly who I want in my company, and those are the people you want in your life because they're ahead of it, they're on it, they've got game, they're moving, they're motivated. I think the real problem with big corporations, they've got to hire through HR. It's all watered down. They don't have that gravitas person interviewing and making the decisions. So that's why I think corporations tend to get muddled down, watered down people going just for the check,
What was interesting when I was a headhunter was most of the jobs I did was dealing with HR. Right? So I would talk to HR, they'd tell me what they need. And then I would go find people and then I would send them to HR. HR would go through the resumes and they would send them to the line manager. The line manager would get it, and then they would contact HR, and HR would contact me. But some people, I would send the resume to HR, and then I would get a message from the line manager, and I would know already who he was. I already know he was a very busy person, right? Super busy, right? And I knew he was talented, and he was famous in his company for whatever. But he's like, look, send the resumes to me only. He's like, I want to meet the guys. I'm like, I know you're insanely busy. He's like, I know I'm insanely busy. He says, but what basically he would say is, he's like, I trust you. So when you send a resume, I'm going to read the whole fucking thing. But if you ever fucking send something that is inaccurate or a waste of time, I will never talk to you again because I just don't have time. But for right now, everything you send me, I'm going to read like it's gold.
The way that
that was so beautiful for me because that allowed me to I realized he was really respecting me, and I was already that way. I was already super into my job. Right? I really enjoyed looking for talent, right? But then also I felt this extra burden in a partnership with him. So when I would bring him somebody, I would actually really care about that guy. Whereas the HR, you just don't have the same thing. So there are corporations who have people who will break the structure in order to make it like you're saying, better. But the basic structure of the corporation,
people like Mark Benioff, who had his own fiefdom at Oracle. What's funny is the way that I would never want to work jobs. I'd always want to work on my own company. But occasionally a headhunter would send me something that was just terribly wrong or written wrong, and I'd always be like, oh, you've got a big mistake in your thing, give me a call. And they'd be like, what? And then they'd call and I'd be like, oh yeah, this doesn't mean that, and do you know what this is? And then we'd spend like 3 hours talking about something, and they had no idea what it was. They'd thank me profusely, and then they'd go, oh, do you want this job? So I never wanted the job, but I just was trying to help them and correct them. That was such a different response to what headhunters were getting, that they were like, it breaks the mold immediately, and they're like, what? There's a problem? Something's wrong? What's wrong? And then
usually somebody like you knows who can do the role.
Yeah.
So you're not going to do it, but somebody you're going to know, like, hey, why don't you give so and so a call? He's perfect for this, That's and right. I heard he's unhappy where he is,
right.
and he would be interested in this. And if it's not him, he'll know somebody,
yeah.
and then you'll lead me to somebody else, and that person will either lead me to somebody else, or sometimes they'll even give me their subordinate. Because they'll say, like, their best subordinate, but they're like, I know he's going to be happier with this company than with me.
When you were headhunting...
Because they really care about...
When you were headhunting and you talked to people, was it really fast that you picked up on that this was, like, the person had it, Or was it really difficult still to weed people out?
Okay, so headhunting. So the thing with headhunting is, and this could be an hour-long one, so I got to be careful, but, okay... You go to HR. They give you a piece of paper. It says a title, and then it has a description. Okay, but that does not tell me shit. Okay, it doesn't tell me shit about the job, because
it's not even right half the time.
Well, but even if it's right, like every company has a thing like this, but it's very different to, like, for example, every company is so different inside. Okay, and every technology. Some companies are very exciting to work for because they're growing. Other companies are dead and you're just like milking a cow, And other companies are based on government subsidies or based on large contracts. There's a million types of companies. So when you say talent, forget talent. One of the main things that was my job, why I was a great headhunter, I did like top people. Like I won't say the names of them, but the top people. And the reason why I got to those levels is because I'd spend a lot of energy finding out in a sneaky way, because often the people are so busy they can't have time to tell you. I want to find out what it's really like to do this job. Almost like I want to do the job for a week myself.
Yeah.
I want to see how late I'm staying up. I want to see if I don't do something, who has to do it, and what that causes them. They miss seeing their baby who's 2 years old. They can't see them because they have to work late. And then I see that the company has too many boxes stacked up over there, or there's not enough numbers coming in over here. I need to understand, what is that job that I'm feeling? Like, what is the job? What is needed? What is the perfect person? Like, what is this job? Like, who would be motivated to take this job? Because usually what happens is once I really understood a job, I wouldn't do the search because it's a bad job. So it's a shitty job.
It's a
shitty job. So what every headhunter would do is they would get a job, and then they would go search for somebody.
I would always get requests to do things, and I'd read the description. It would have like X, Y, and Z. People who do X never do Y. People who do Y never do Z. And I take one look at it and realize they have no idea what they're talking about. This is just a complete laundry list all slapped together, and it's a bullshit job.
Right. Well, it could be a real job. It just could be a bullshit description.
They have no understanding of what they really needed.
So the thing is the way to think about it is this. Okay, is forget all the papers, forget all the people, forget genius, everything. What you're doing is you're trying to find out. Imagine you're looking for a lover for somebody. Okay, you're looking for a lover for some particular person, right? What type of person is this that they need a lover? They're looking for a lover. How do they live? What kind of house? What kind of humor? And then you think, well, what would be the good match with them? What would be, what age would they be? How would they? What would motivate them to want to live with this person, right? And then you find out what that is, and then you can go find the person that would match that.
The funny thing
that would be motivated. This would be a step up for them.
There is a funny thing in that process. It's the same with filling jobs as with finding lovers, which is the person will give you a checklist of things.
Of course.
And the reality is those are attempts at describing it, and none of those matter. They don't have to have any of those. At the end of the day, it's going to be a gut decision. And yeah, it would be nice if they have some of them, but the checklist is an initial stab in the sand at what it might be.
Well, there's the gut, there's all that, but the reality is that life is boring for most people. Okay, so the thing is most people, like, I don't want to be the lover of most people because it's a bad position. There's nothing there. This is a stale, boring, meaningless position. So I would go to the people and I'd figure it out, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to work on this one. And they're like, what do you mean you're not going to work on this? You're a headhunter. It's like, this job is boring. Like, there's no way no one's going to take this job. Like, I'm going to say no one is going to step out of another company for this job. And they say, well, we're going to pay them more money. It's like, that doesn't motivate people to take a job.
No.
And so then they'll say, then if they're smart, which is some people in companies are smart, they'll be like, okay, I get it. They'll be like, we'll call you when we have something good. And then they'll call me and they'll say, look, we got a new division. It's, like, for example, we I don't want to say that, we got a very cool job once for a brand new thing. And so, that is the kind of thing is I would let them know that I'm not here just to fill the position, because I can't lie to people. So I would basically just wait for an exciting position or something that I thought it didn't have to be ground shaking, but I mean, it's like, there's something pretty exciting about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the company's on its way up.
We just launched in Japan, and we need someone to make it happen with the division.
Or even just the president for Japan. It's a certain kind of person, right? And certain kind of deals that had never been done. Japan has a need, whatever it is. And then I would go to people, and then I would. So now I understand why it's attractive. So now once I understand why it's attractive, then I can find somebody who. I won't tell them directly, because if you tell it's attractive, because let's say the lover example. So I have a girl. She's a centerfold model. She's 20 years old, perfect body, huge smile, nice personality, good education. I'm looking for a lover for her. Now, if I tell people who it is, everyone's going to want to be her lover, right? But she's not going to want everybody as her lover. She has very high standards, right, or specific standards. So I need to understand what she's thinking in order to find her lover, because everybody's going to want that. Everybody wants to be the fucking, the salesman for the first iPhone. You don't even have to fucking sell. You could be a total idiot. You got the first iPhone. It's going to fly off the shelves, right?
The most interesting headhunter experience I ever had was with the tech boom. Everybody's trying to hire everybody. You're getting hundreds of requests every day. You're ignoring them all. And then finally I got one which said something like, my husband's really cool and smart, and he's doing a new company, and we're just you're interested. I was like, it was like an indirect description of something exciting that was happening.
Okay.
And that was way better than a corporate-y person saying, come write code and blah, blah, blah. It was like, what? There's something new? What? It's happening? It's taking off? What? This guy's really cool?
Was it true? Was it
true.
Yeah.
I ended up taking the job and doing all kinds of incredibly cool work. So it's kind of funny. It's like the informal nudge, I call it.
Okay.
So when you get the informal nudge from almost an unexpected person, or you're like the unexpected headhunter who wore jeans.
Yeah.
It's not the typical person. It's the unexpected nudge.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all you need to go, oh, this is different. What is this? And you don't even know what it is. Like, I didn't get a list of details. It was just like, this is really weird. What is this?
Right. And
then that gets you going, and you want to find out what it is, and then you learn more, and you're like, yeah, let's go talk. This is cool. And that's very different from come post your resume to HR, and you need X, Y, and Z.
There was something that sparked something in you, and then you were like, that's exciting.
And it was also because I didn't know everything about it. I knew very little about it. And I was like, what the heck is this?
Right. There's some kind of energy there. There's something, well, like this tour is a perfect example. It's like there's a lot of unknowns, right? So people were like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck are we doing here? And so, yeah, so that some people are curious about that. They want to know, like, this is not the typical thing. What the fuck is going on here? And they're curious about it. They want to know more, right? And so that can be a good thing too. That was amazing. That thing worked out with starting with that. Yeah, that does happen. And in certain kinds of people who would say that because they know that people like you are going to respond, right? Whereas
I
like,
don't think they knew. I think they're just kind of like,
oh, they were
I'm
lucky.
just pitching in. I don't know what I'm doing. Something's happening.
They got
I don't
lucky.
understand it. I'm not a techie.
They got lucky. And those are the same people who probably failed later because
Yeah.
they probably became all, okay, now that we're serious, we're going to say serious things. If you want genius, you don't do this.
Right.
You keep it at another level.
No, actually, I disagree. I think that was exactly the way you get the geniuses because the standard approach doesn't get the geniuses
Right.
at all.
Exactly.
Completely sick of it.
Right. But the thing is, after people get successful, they forget the things that made them successful.
They have no clue what happened.
Yeah, they think, oh, that was just
They
lucky.
think it was them.
Yeah.
They have no clue all the wacky little things that happen that actually work. A lot of times they just say, I did it. Ha ha.
Right.
It was me.
Right. I learned headhunting, like a lot of people with their headhunting, they would say that, they would say a lot of things that were not good, like bad hunters. But one of the things is that you could somehow influence the guy to take the job. Like you could kind of talk him into it, or you could talk the company into it. I totally don't agree with that. I totally took another. I'm sure that other guys were successful, doing this. But for me, I totally wasn't.
And one of the
I would be in a final meeting with a guy and say, you're not the right guy for this. I don't think it's going to motivate you. Because listen, you just told me this, you told me this. It doesn't fucking match for you. And then he would be like,
yeah, in terms of
he knew I was telling the truth, so he might turn that one down.
Yeah,
but now he trusts me more.
I trust you more.
Because he knows that I not only am I going to say the truth, I actually know what the truth is.
One of the mistakes I made was I would never be lured by money. But when I was younger, I was lured by titles. So I was like, oh, I'm just a programmer. Well, we need a chief architect. Oh, now you can become a director. Oh, I'd like to be a director. Right. Or like, oh, we need a VP. Oh, we need a CTO. And like, once you collect all the titles, suddenly you're done with titles. Titles mean zero. It's like, don't even give me a title. I don't even want that anymore. That has nothing to do with what I do.
That's funny.
But the problem is when you're young and you're starting out, you just have this vision that somehow that title means something and is going to help you along the way, or someone will care that you had this thing. Nobody ever cared. Nobody ever cared about any title I ever had, ever. 30 years, nobody ever cared about any title I had.
Goldman Sachs, everybody's vice president.
Yeah.
Every fucking buddy's vice president, Goldman Sachs. Every business card's vice president.
When I was at Oracle, my friend, I won't say his name, he was a schmoozer. He spent all of his time schmoozing. He didn't do any work, really. And I did all kinds of huge, massive things for the company. And then he just schmoozed, talked all of his time with the higher-ups, and then they promoted him to VP. So he got to be a VP, and I was still a little muckety-muck. So, but what does that mean? Like, are you creating? Are you increasing your abilities? Are you following your vision? No, it doesn't. But you've gone for a title.
Well, when you get titles are very interesting, too, because like in Japan, it's hard to become. Well, I don't know how it is now. Maybe it's changed a little bit. But if you wanted to be president of a small, say, American software company, like an intelligence company I work for, I search for, accounting, whatever it is, like somebody who's open, not as big as an Oracle, but smaller than that. So like a smaller solution, like a PTC or Hyperion Solutions. These companies don't exist anymore, but that's the level they got to. They opened up a Japan office and they wanted a president. And they always got a president who was from IBM, Japan. Always. Because it was the can't lose. You can't get fired for hiring someone from IBM in Japan as a president. Because they had this like idea that the IBM management program was the best in the world. So if you had a small company, the smartest thing to do is hire an IBM president. IBM, like some high-level executive from IBM, and make him the president, and then everybody would respect him because he was from IBM, right? And that was the thing. For every company president has fucking IBM background in Japan, pretty much. And it's like so funny. So titles do mean something because then once you're president of one company, even if you're the worst president,
right? Like
Melissa Mayer at, what was that? Compaq? Was that Compaq?
Yahoo.
Oh, Yahoo, yeah. And her or who else? There was another one at Compaq. It's terrible. But anyway, if you're a president, then you go to a president of the next company because now you're a president. So I understand how you didn't like titles, and I don't like them either. But in some senses, it is kind of smart because you're limited because you can't go lower anymore.
Right.
But they will hire for that.
Right.
And it's almost like they don't even fucking check your record. Just that you were president. You're president. You're president. You're president. You're president. You're president. You're president.
But then there's a problem where you can't go higher. So like one time when I needed work, I redid my resume, took every title off of it. Then I got offers.
Well, of course. One of my most successful friends in Japan, I'm not going to say his name. You probably know him, but he's now gone out of Japan. But he had a president. He was a president, and then he took a job as a consultant of a company. And the reason why is because he wanted to write the 5-year plan for this company. And he really could see a vision for this company. And he knew he was going to work under the top guy. And he was able to write the 5-year plan. So he took a consulting position to write the 5-year plan. And that was fucking brilliant because he ended up being president, which would have been impossible because he was 31 years old.
Wow.
Was the youngest age of a large multinational president ever in Japan. And the reason is because he was smart enough to not care about the title, but he cared about the title. He had both. He could go, he's doghouse to the penthouse kind of guy. Kind of like this tour.
But there is one thing.
It's like he was able to go all the way down, all the way up.
There is one value to titles, which is like other people can't push you around. Like there's a certain sense of if like I'm working with the director of a company, and he's got issues, and I'm trying to help them. But they know my past. They know all the things I've done. They know all the titles I've had. Like you don't get knocked around or just dismissed as much. Like you do have more weight in the things you do. So that's the only case where titles have meant a little bit. Where I think other people just pick up on that. I've been through this.
Let me question you. I bet you didn't even like those situations though. Anytime that you had to use your title, it probably sucked, right?
No. Terrible. And those were only they were usually bad apple people also.
Hopefully you get out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah, they were actually always bad apple people in general who were doing terrible jobs, and for some reason you had to interact with them, and like the titles then became a little bit of a shield. Just like if you're going as a consultant, you're not, you're leaving, you're not going to be there long term. They can't really touch you, and they're coming to you for expertise. So the titles is something I just say it's just a psychological. We crave that sense of success when we're younger.
Right.
We kind of we feel like, well, we haven't done it yet, we haven't made it yet. But after you've made it, the whole game changes. Now I care about creating, I care about inventing, I care about bringing ideas and visions to reality. It's a whole different thing. I could care less what my title is. But usually my title is owner of the company, so I guess I don't really need to worry about it as much.
Well, owner of the company can mean anything, It doesn't necessarily mean shit,
Right.
And only if, owner of the company,
but
president of a small
company. I don't
company.
need to impress anyone with
Right.
anything.
Right.
I'm just getting work done.
The worst thing with the social media age for me is when I go to LinkedIn, and everybody's like a visionary, and a CEO they're basically a CEO of a WordPress template, if you ask me.
Right.
So there's a lot of people who are CEO of a WordPress template. And that's like the worst fucking position. You buy a good domain and you make yourself the president and you write a bunch of crap on there and you look good on paper. Right?
I love these.
But you have nothing. There's no business.
I love these.
There's no
venture,
entity.
I read these venture capitalist resumes all the time, and it's like, I was the president of Yamlu, Gulu, Moglo, and Pathu. I was like, what the heck are these? And I'll actually dig, and I'll try to read up on them. I was like, this is all bullshit. What is this? This is a piece of crap. But they've done 10 of them. It's not even enough to do one. They've done 10 of them. And like you said, they're all just WordPress nonsense idea things. And they sold one of them to another idiot for $10 million or something.
Oh.
But so maybe it's not so stupid.
Right.
Maybe that is the way to go. But that's definitely kind of weird.
Right. Oh, God. Okay, we could go on and on, but I don't know. What is this? What are we talking about here? What are the lessons here? Or what is any cool down here?
Yeah, I think, we started out talking about inspiration and spark.
Patents.
And
ideas,
versus working hard and
unique ideas.
What's the important part of being successful in your life or in business? And the answer is, what you need the most is all of it
at the time.
At the right time and wisdom. So it's not just the idea. It's not just the wisdom of how to run a company. It's not just the spark. It's just not the business sense. It's not the effort you put in. You really do need to have all of it, and you have to have all of it, and you have to have the sense of knowing when it's the right time for all of it. And that's the same in your life as well, because what choices you make for your own life, you have to have a certain sense of creativity on who you are, creating yourself. But you also have to work hard. You also have to be perseverant, and you also have to, like I said, know what to do when. Your life's a jigsaw puzzle. But the problem is the pieces can only be put in place at certain times, and you're trying to complete it.
Right.
So it's a tricky path, and the main thing is society's hammered you with all these rules and all these, things, and if you follow them, you'll end up a goat working in a cube all your life and be miserable. So there's a certain amount of having that spark to see beyond the simple immediate reality and knowing what's important about how to live or how to do your business. Both apply.
Okay. I would say that you could take this episode as, like, did you ever read, was it not How to Win Friends and Influence? Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People was basically, he interviewed all these like famous guys at the time, rich guys at the time, successful guys at the time. And then he learned what made them, Andrew Carnegie, what made them successful, right? And then from that, just talking to them and learning them, he was able to find his place in the world, his success, right? Once he talked to successful people. And I thought about it because when I was a headhunter, I think probably the seminal moment in my life was being a headhunter, because my job was to look at people that were way above me, right? And then but I had to like realize my job was to not to allow them to be above me, because it's like the doctor when he's working on your arm. He's above you at that moment. You want him to be above you. You don't want to be, hey, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, here's my arm, please fix my arm, right? He's above you at that moment, right? And so as a headhunter, when you're talking to anybody, you're above them, and they know that. Your job is to get them a better job, even though they know you couldn't do what they do, right? Because that's not what you're doing. You're finding a better opportunity for their career, right? And going to bring them more success because you do your job well. They do their job well, right? So part of it was, for me, was getting the confidence to talk to heavy guys and ask them tough questions, because no matter what the title is, 99% of people totally are retards, right? So they're not good. So you have to find out, sure, they were a sales manager, but what does that mean? Sure, they got $1 billion deal, but how did that deal go down? Was it actually their success? Is it just pure luck? Was it the product? Was it the timing? Was it their boss? Was it the vicinity they were in? Was it somebody's connection, their uncle, their aunt, something? Or was it pure sales skill? And you have to understand how the deal actually went down before you can even start to judge how good they are, before you can start to say, okay, out of 100, he's a 67. He's a 76, and you have to be able to put people, and I'm talking 1 to 100. You have to be able to put them right in there, like in the niche that you're looking for, right? How good actually are they, and then you have to be able to present that to the company. Because I would always say, this guy's terrible at that. And they would start laughing. They're like, no headhunters ever say that. I'm saying, well, he is. But he's really good at that.
But to rate them, you have to know their story. You have to know how they got there.
Right, and you have to be honest about it too. Once you know.
Right.
Yeah, if you really want to be good. But this isn't about heading. So what I would say the lesson is I gained a lot from talking to these guys, because they would tell me, they would lie to my face. They would say, I got this deal, I did this deal, and then I would be like, I just look at their clothes, I would just look at their face. I thought, I don't think this guy got this deal. Like, there's something I just don't feel. I don't understand why. It's like, I was a salesman, and I was a good salesman. I can feel, because I did mainly sales positions. So by pure luck, I got into sales, business development, sales positions. So I know salespeople. They just talk a certain way. Like, I'll tell you, my best story was this. I was talking to this guy, and I'm like, I know you're fucking good. And I'm like, but why are you good?
Why are you?
Like, what is it about you? Like, tell me about one of your deals. And then he told me, and I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this, but maybe I don't know if it was an episode. But anyway, he said, he starts cracking up, and he basically is like gonna open the kimono, right? He's like, okay, here's the deal. We could not get a meeting with this guy. Nobody could get a meeting with this guy. He would not meet anybody for this software. Like, he was selling this mage. And so he found the guy's dad died, right? So then he showed up at the funeral with flowers, right? And he just showed up at the funeral, put the flowers, did everything, clapping. Didn't, just showed up at the funeral. Then the guy would meet him. Because he knew. See, that's a salesman. See, the thing is, people that aren't salesmen, they don't really know what sales is, right? Sales is, it's unique, brilliant actions based on that other person. It's not bragging. It's not pushing. It's like he knew that the other guy is not stupid. Okay,
he knows he went there.
He knows the guy, but also the thing is, he watched him, and he was at the funeral, and he was a nice addition to the funeral. Like, he was able to talk with his friends. He was able to fit in. Everybody liked him when the thing ended. He didn't just come in. He added to the thing, and so he was, he added to he helped. He was there. And so the guy saw how this guy actually interacts with real people in real life. So it wasn't just that it was a funeral.
So when they asked him, how did you know the deceased? And he says, well, I'm just trying to close a deal here.
I'm sure he didn't have that mindset. This guy was a great guy. I knew this guy. He was my first big deal, Right. I actually did a bigger deal than this, but I didn't consider it my deal. That was luck. This one was my first deal. And so, he found a way to express himself to this very picky guy. And then he was able to present his solution, which was better than what the guy had. Right. The guy was smart. You don't get to these positions not being smart.
Right.
There's no Illuminati. You don't get to a position by a vote of a nameless, faceless people. It's hard fucking work to get a good job. It's hard work to get up in a company. And it takes skill. If you think everybody is there because of some faceless thing that put them there, you're fucking crazy. Like, people work their asses off to start these companies. They've worked their balls off. They borrow money from people. They max their credit cards. They're fucking working all night. They're going crazy. It's like, it's hard work out there. Just like everything. And build a company is really fucking hard work. And most of these people are very hard workers. I
just want to thank Ronin for taking me away from my hard work for a few hours.
Yeah, we successfully wasted a few hours. You could have been productive. All right, we're going to go do something.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, he's got one.
Pause it. Hey, it's chime time. I wanted to remind you to make an announcement on what our next travels are, like cities and things like that.
What are they?
Oh yeah, because I'm the detail-oriented guy. Yeah. You're not. We're looking to kick it in Austin for a little bit. And
till like Sunday, right?
Yeah, till Sunday, next few days. And then we're potentially looking at going straight to Pensacola, which is in Florida. And also we have our eyes on Tennessee and maybe somewhere, Atlanta. Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, Atlanta for sure.
Yeah, Atlanta for sure. And that's all before Ozark Summit. So this is now, what's today's date? The 17th, 18th? 17th. Today's the 17th, and
18th.
That's only 2 weeks. We're going to do all that in 2 weeks?
Potentially.
Maybe not, but we're going to try.
Yeah. We have our eyes on it. And then July 4th weekend in the Ozarks in Arkansas. And
we'll probably get there about the 1st. So it will be there 2 days early. So 2 days early, 2 days late. And then if anybody comes, and we're already having some really fucking solid guys in the group. So we might even have to get another place or something. We're getting some really good. We just got another guy joined.
Another offer.
Yeah, bought his ticket to come. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Any comment on anything? Like, just add anything? You guys want to add anything? Like, I feel very happy. This morning I was out walking around the track, and I was just feeling like very positive.
I guess I wanted to say, great minds connect, and if you're having trouble connecting with people, maybe they're not the great minds you should be connecting with.
Oh, yeah. You try so hard, and then it's like you're connecting with a rock.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. You're right.
Or you feel isolated. But when you finally run into great people like Ronin, you'll immediately feel comfortable and have great connections. So always keep that in mind as you meet people. Like, there should be, you'll sense things instantly, very quick.
I think people are afraid of that, because if you look around you, let's say you're in a small town and everybody's an idiot, it's really scary, because you're thinking, like, where am I going to find these people, right? But it's one of these things where if you just have the mindset that you will find people that jive with you. That
Yeah.
you just have the mindset that they exist.
And
Don't give up.
And that's very important
Yeah.
in this world because we're more isolated from each other than ever. So it is important to have your receptors on and being able to very quickly pick up on people.
Right. You can't. If you do meet them, you can't pass them by.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And for example, can I talk about saving the bird?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. For example,
We'll put the video probably in here. Yeah.
for example, there was a bird in distress at a pond, and hundreds of people walked by and did nothing. And we finally, our little menagerie walked by, and we couldn't keep going. And we ended up having this very long, we had no intention to stay there, but we had spent a very long time there saving this bird. Hundreds of people gathered around, and we met all kinds of people. So that original good energy of us, just being us and doing what we think to do, spread out into encountering all kinds of people from all different cultures and backgrounds. And we eventually met some really cool people as well. So sometimes you have to be the spark of just from your own action of something that then other people go, well, what's going on there? What is that? And then suddenly you're meeting all kinds of people. So, you can't just sit idly by and snooze. You have to have some impetus into it.
I think where that particular thing started is I saw the lady talking about the bird in the caught in the fishing wire, and she was nice. She was actually the key because she noticed it and said it. But I just sensed that she wasn't going to do anything.
No, nobody was going to.
She was just standing there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fucking going to go in there. So I walk in the bush.
This cormorant is like honking like this. Honk, honk, save me!
Yeah.
And everybody's just looking at it, and we're like, we need to do something.
Yeah, and then I went. I got the knife. We sent a couple people to find a knife.
We had no knife.
We had to find.
We
We had
very
to
challenged.
cut the fishing wire, and then the guy gave me the knife, and I go in, and then you're in. You're already in the bush.
I just jumped
Chime
over
dived
the
in.
fence right into the murky water. It wasn't too deep. I had boots on, which is good. And then I walked in, and I didn't have the knife. Ronin had to pass me the knife through the bushes, and then I had to hold this bird, and I was looking at my wrist the whole time, and its huge long beak, and I really thought it was going to just go right through my wrist.
Yeah, you went real close.
But the bird had moments where he was like relaxed, then nervous, relaxed, then nervous, and then I got him free, cut the line, and
It was like one of those animal rescue videos that you see when people are raising money and for some bullshit cause. This was beautiful. It was beautiful. We saved this fucking.
The sun was setting in the background.
Oh, it was gorgeous. Yeah.
And the funny thing is,
in the video, you can't see how beautiful it is because you're just looking at the bush.
Everybody that was in their hypnotized days, just walking in their normal hypnotized life, they all woke up.
Right.
They all woke up and they all were like, buzz, 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 what's happening? And then they all wanted to know the story. And they all wanted to sort of get involved a little bit and find out. And we actually met a lot of great, interesting people and sort of woke everybody out of their daily slumbers. And it was a happening.
The only regret I have is that the guy who gave us the knife, he had that little girl.
Oh.
Or I think he was a grandfather. But he gave us, we should have brought her in there to let her watch it closer, She was really excited. She was jumping up and down to see what was going on,
Yeah.
I should have said, hey, come over here, get her in there,
Yeah.
So she could see, come up close and watch this thing happen. Because kids, they learn by example, right?
So the other important point, though, is I think 99.999% of people you meet every day are the hypnotized walker-bys. And that's something you have to strive for in your life. On everything is to engage. Engage and make a difference and be awake. Don't be hypnotized. Don't be in a slumber. And that kind of active, intentional living.
And be ready to change your plans.
And be ready to change things. Break the rules. The rule was don't go over the gate. Don't go over
Right.
the fence. You have to break the stupid rules to get things done. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Fuck yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.